Next up, we have Rachel Rose. And beyond researching fetal malnutrition, our next speaker served at the co-natal unit of the hospital in Kenya. Rachel Rose Komanapalli shares her story of metamorphosis in the next context.
Hello, my name is Rachel Komanapalli, and thank you for coming tonight. When I was 12 years old, my little sister was stillborn, and my 12-year-old self couldn't completely fathom how this could happen and how no one had ever talked to me about the possibility of this. So I spent a lot of time researching the causes of fetal death, and I was stunned to see that one of the leading causes of fetal death is malnutrition. It's not disease or cancer. It is the lack of proper nutrients to a little infant. So in my study, I found myself fascinated with this, and I decided that I want to learn more. So what is malnutrition? Malnutrition is the lack of proper nutrients in the body. This can happen to anyone. It doesn't mean that you don't have the access to food. It means that you're not intaking the proper food. In my research, I wanted to find out 4 things. What causes fetal malnutrition? What are the long-term effects? Who does it affect? And how can we prevent it? I found that fetal malnutrition is caused by people not knowing which foods they should intake. So you could have a large meal, but you might not be taking the right amount of vegetables or fruit that have the vitamins you desperately need. The long-term effects can be anything from slower motor skills to brain damage that can impede a child in the rest of their life. It affects everyone. It does not discriminate against social standing, race, or gender. You can come from a well-to-do family and still be malnourished because you don't know the types of foods you need to be eating. And the only way to really prevent it is to make people aware of it. If you don't know about fetal malnutrition, you're not going to know how to prevent it. You won't know what type of foods you need to eat. As I was researching, I had the opportunity to travel to Tenwick Hospital in Bomet, Kenya. It is the #1 visited admissions hospital in the world. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to shadow doctors in the pediatric wards as well as the neonatal intensive care unit. Next slide, please. I was able to experience malnutrition firsthand. This little baby was less than 2 pounds when he was born. He was highly malnourished, and I was able to see how the doctors took this and were able to formulate a plan to make sure he had the best life he possibly could. I also had the privilege of shadowing a very wise doctor who taught me a lot about malnutrition, how they can tackle it in third world countries. He taught me a lot through rounds, and I'm very thankful for that. I also had time with a nutritionist at the hospital, and she taught me about the Z-chart. The Z-chart is the scale that they use to measure malnutrition. If a child is in the green zone, they are given dietary supplements and vitamins and sent home so that they can, what they say, beef up and come back for a checkup just to make sure that they are growing properly. If they are in the moderate to severe part of the Z-score chart, they are admitted into the hospital. This can be expensive, so the doctors try to avoid this as much as possible, giving the mother the tips and tricks she needs to really help her child gain weight and go back to the green part of the chart. I was lucky enough to go on outreach projects while I was there. One of my favorite parts was going to a school where we had helped them get 3 biosand filters. And what really impacted me wasn't the fact that we had given them this amazing biosand filter so that they could have filtered water. It was that the kids were teaching us how to use it. They had taken the time to learn how each part of the filter worked, and they were showing us. They had also gone home and they had showed their parents, so their parents were learning about how water should be properly sanitized so it's safe for drinking. Next slide. We also handed out toothbrushes. Once again, the biggest part of this wasn't us handing toothbrushes, it was that the children were showing us how to use them. They were showing us how they wash their hands. We were changing, little by little, how this community thought of hygiene. It was making the community healthier, safer, and it's helping change the culture. That's how you prevent things. You change how people think about it. We also got to know people in the community. We got to spend time with children who they don't have people coming all the time to spend time with them and show them they are important. I think that's what stuck out to me the most, was that these children were so happy. They didn't have a lot, but they were willing to learn from us. They were willing to spend time with us. It really showed me what true happiness is. It isn't what you have. It's how much you can get out of what you have. Next, please. In preparation for this trip, I read 2 books that really helped me while I was there. The first is Miracle at Tenwick, which is the biography of Dr. Ernie Stewart, who was the first doctor at Tenwick Hospital. He had immense faith. He went to a place where they had almost nothing. He gave surgeries in the bleakest of areas with very minimal tools. And I was able to go into the trip saying, I don't know what I'm going to encounter, but I want to learn more about fetal malnutrition, and I'm just going to have faith that what I need to learn, I will learn. I also read When Helping Hurts, which is a book about how short-term missions can harm the people you're trying to help. When people go on short-term missions, they do like to give handouts, and this isn't helping the community, it's harming them because they're not learning how to take care of themselves. That's why it was so incredible to see these children teaching us about their biosand filters, because it meant that we were helping the community. My thesis was malnutrition causes fetal abnormalities as well as diseases that can carry on into adulthood. Children who have fetal malnutrition, the effects of them can go on for years and years. I was able to talk to a mother in Kenya. Her adopted son was incredibly malnourished when they adopted him. He went to what they call the fat farm to get the proper nutrients and supplements so that he could be sent home and be healthy. And she said that now he has motor skill problems, as well as he wasn't able to talk as quickly as other children because he didn't have the proper nutrients when his brain was developing. And that's going to stay with him for the rest of his life because he wasn't able to get the proper nutrients when he was a child. The slogan at Tenwick is, "We treat, Jesus heals." This impacted me as I want to go into the medical field when I'm older, and I know that I can't say to every patient, Jesus wants to heal you, but I can, in my own time, pray that Jesus gives me the wisdom to help the patients that I'm with. It also impacted me in that the doctors there, because they prayed with each patient. They showed that each patient was loved, and I can't necessarily pray with each patient at the hospital, but I can show them that they are loved, that there is someone that cares for them. So how can we prevent fetal malnutrition and anemia? We can change the culture. When you're teaching people about fetal malnutrition, it'll stick in their minds. They will go, oh, I need to eat more of this. I need to make sure my child is taking more of this. The nutritionist that I was talking to, she said that they have seminars once a week where pregnant mothers can come and learn about the proper nutrition their child needs. And the mothers are so receptive. They go home and they tell their friends, they tell their mothers and their sisters, and it's changing the culture. You're teaching them how they can properly use what they have, their resources. They can take that and they can help their children. Every mother wants the best for their child, and if you're giving the means to do that, they're forever grateful. You can spread the knowledge. Like I said, these seminars are very impactful. Also, the outreach programs where the nurses go out into the community and they teach the mothers how to properly care for their child. This is helping so much. This is taking more steps to ensure that fetal malnutrition is eradicated, because it is a problem that doesn't need to be a problem. It can go away. And make proper nutrition readily available. This could be volunteering at your local soup pantry, making sure that mothers in low-income areas have access to food that they need. The hospital has been blessed to have vitamins and supplements donated to them, so they're able to give those to their mothers so that they can go home and they can help their children. So what can you do? You can spread the word. If expecting mothers know more about fetal malnutrition, they can be aware of what to consume when they're pregnant. They can know what their child needs desperately, especially teen mothers. Teen mothers are more at risk of malnutrition because their bodies and their fetus bodies are competing for the same nutrients. So when you're supporting them, you're helping your child have a healthy and stable life. You're making an impact that won't last just a few days or when the baby's born. It'll last for the rest of their life. So thank you.